Being a tech YouTuber in the UK is hard.
Yes, quite. Ripping good laugh.
Yes.
Because we don't get things like the Galaxy Buds until at least a full month after they've been released in the US. Thanks a lot, Trump. So for that reason, I can't do like an unboxing and a first impressions, but what it does give me the opportunity to do is do one of these, a more in-depth, full 1 month use and review of the Samsung Galaxy Buds. Now, embarrassingly, as a tech YouTuber, my benchmark for wireless headphones actually lies with these, which you may recognize from Unbox Therapy. These are the M-Pow Flames, which are actually the highest rated pair of wireless headphones on Amazon for only about £19. So just in case by the end of this you think, you know what, the Galaxy Buds are still a little bit too rich for my blood, I'm gonna link these down in the description down below. They're not bad. But moving on to the Galaxy Buds, after 1 full month of using them for working, commuting, exercising, what did I like, what didn't I like, and would I recommend picking them up? Or for like the 7 people who've decided to spend £2,000 on the Samsung Fold, would I mind getting these in a box, I guess? Let's start off an important feature of wireless headphones, and that is the battery life, with a combined total of 13 hours battery life when you take into account 6 hours in the earbuds themselves. Better than AirPods, and 7 hours in the case. I can't think to date of a time where these have actually run out during my normal working day. I think the lowest I've managed to get it down to is like 25% with some like intermittent charging in between. However, they're still not meant for like days and days at a time without charging, especially if you're using them consistently. However, if you can't find a place to plug them in, obviously the case, first generation of these wireless charging, I'm just saying AirPod 2s, and of course, if you've got something like the S10 and the S10 Plus, which now offer the reverse wireless charging functionality. Is it a bit gimmicky? Absolutely. Have I used it yet? No. But you know what, worst comes to worst, if I've got a full charge in my phone, these are dead, and I want to listen to some music, I'd be happy to have that feature there. Next, and I covered this in a previous video I did comparing these to the AirPod 2s, and that is the comfort and the secure fit of the Galaxy Buds. So, unlike the AirPods, the Galaxy Buds obviously offer true in-ear design with 3 different size tips which come in the box with them to make sure they're going to fit in any person's ear securely, completely blocking out any sound. And as well, a feature which I mentioned, which is great, the fins on top of these, which you put them in your ear, twist them round, they hook into those weird flappy bits of your ear. I'm not an anatomical genius, I don't know what they are, but I like it. They fit in there nice and snug, so that if you're doing things like cycling, running, exercising in the gym, something like that, they're so secure that they're just not going to fall out. However, if you're doing something like exercising, because it's such a tight fit, you can't get air in there, it can't get cooled down, they get kind of sweaty and wet. However, I still think I'll take that any day compared to the AirPods, which is just a 50-50 chance whether or not they'll actually stay in my ear as soon as I start moving. Next is not so much to do with the Galaxy Buds themselves, but the control you get over them with the Galaxy Wearable app. So within this, you actually get an equalizer option, which allows you to choose from bass boost, soft, dynamic, clear, and treble boost options. That way you've got complete control over your sound depending on what you're listening to. For example, you're listening to music, you maybe want to stick it on bass boost. Listening to something like a podcast or an audiobook, you may want to stick it on clear so that the voices come through that much better. So as well as changing the audio options, a couple of other things you can do within the Galaxy app. You can find your earbuds if they're ever lost. For example, mine are right there, not particularly lost, but if I hit start, that's the noise they make. Obviously there's no speaker on the outside to allow them to play out a noise louder than that, and it will depend on what volume you left it on when you took them out. Like for example, if you only had them on, let's say half volume, they sound more like that. However, if they're lost, you're looking around, you know they're somewhere nearby, it's still more of a help than just blindly looking, I guess. And as well as that, there's a few customizable options within the app so that you can change the long press on the touchpad to either be volume up and down, activate Ambient Sound, or activate Voice Assistant. Which leads us nicely on to Voice Assistant. Not to say that there's anything special with the Voice Assistant, it's the exact same one that you would use on your phone, but it's the pure fact that Samsung have finally moved away from their stubborn ways and have realized that, you know what, Bixby ain't for everyone. Which means through a long press of the touchpad, you can actually activate either Voice Assistant, Bixby, or Google Assist, thank God. So I've got mine set with a long press, it will launch Google Assist, which is actually something I prefer than the Hey Siri feature of the new AirPods, because creepily, that's listening out to you all the time for that Hey Siri gesture. Yeah, that thing you did last week, it heard you. Ugh. And then lastly, let's talk about the case. It's small, I like the design, it's not heavy, and most importantly, doesn't look like a pack of Tic Tacs. So, as you would have heard, the magnet that keeps this closed is nice and strong. If you stick them in your bag, in your pocket, something like that, it's not going to come open, you're not going to lose them, damage them, anything like that. They are in there for sure. In fact, some people were complaining that it's too tight and it's difficult to get open one-handed. I mean, you can do it, you just... So, as well as the magnets in the case which keep it closed, there's also the internal ones, which means you can just drop in the bud and it will find its way in there securely. If you drop the buds in, they'll instantly disconnect from your phone, and if you take them out, they'll instantly connect, which has been amazingly convenient compared to having to keep pairing and unpairing these things. Which all of that sounds great. It makes you want to run out and buy a pair of Galaxy Buds right now. By which I mean, order them online, because it's 2019, nobody runs out to get anything anymore. But that unfortunately leads us on to some of the things which I do not like about the Galaxy Buds. And let's just start off with those touch controllers on the side. As small as the buds are, and as great as that is, because it's not like aggressively sticking out of your ears, it's nice and small, nobody can see them. For that small form factor, you're also getting a small touchpad, which means if you want to change song, pause it, or use that voice assistant activation, you've got to be real precise with that touch on the touchpad. It takes some getting used to. If one of them doesn't register while you're trying to skip, you're just constantly pausing and unpausing a song, which can get very annoying. And if you're doing something like running, cycling, something where you're not going to be standing completely still or sitting at a desk, it just makes it that much harder to try and hit that touchpad precisely. Although, quick tip, something I've learned from my month of using these, that double tap to skip tracks. It doesn't have to be a very quick double tap. You can actually do it as slow as that, and it will register as the next track. And then audibly, you'll know if it's skip track or pause, because if it pauses, you hear one beep. If it's skipped, you'll hear two beeps. Next is a feature which was almost like a selling point, but it's also just a little bit gimmicky, is the Ambient Sound. As I mentioned, it's something which can be activated with a long touch of the earbud. I've actually got mine set to this one right now. So holding it down basically activates a microphone on the outside of the earbuds, which is primarily used for noise cancellation and allows that sound to be picked up from around you in a weird, hissy, kind of telephone audio quality. It can be kind of fun. It is very gimmicky. As I said, the audio quality isn't great, and it also takes a few seconds to kind of kick in. So if somebody started talking to you and you wanted to activate it, you probably missed half of what they were about to say anyway. As well, wouldn't recommend it for having a full conversation, because I'm pretty sure it cuts out after about 30 seconds. And then most importantly, you look like a douche. Hey Mark, could I? Oh. What's up? Oh, I'm sorry, you want to call? Oh, it's the ambient noise feature, so that I can hear you. Then why wouldn't you just take out your headphones? Yeah, no, because this way I get to tell you about the new ambient noise feature on my Galaxy Buds. That's stupid, you look like Austin Powers. Sorry, the noise cut out. I feel like James Bond. Could you just take those out for a sec so I can tell you something? You're a douche. Yeah. Which finally brings me to my number one issue with the Galaxy Buds from my 1 month of use, and that is how susceptible they've been so far to interference. Now, an important thing to note, this hasn't actually been too much of an issue kind of locally around where I live, but working in London, it's kind of heavily crowded areas. The audio cuts in and out, it skips, it drops out, it comes back, disconnects. Lots of issues in heavily crowded areas like that. Now, I tried to look up the science behind this, basically the frequency wave the Bluetooth 5.0 uses and what blah, blah, blah. Long and short of it is, heavily crowded areas, there's lots of people using Bluetooth devices, Wi-Fi, mobile signals, everything like that is an interference in a heavily crowded area. There have been some software updates, which I have noticed have helped a little bit with this, and maybe they'll be releasing some more, which will improve with the issue even more. But for the moment, if you're working somewhere crowded like that, or you're going to be using them day to day in an environment like that, I couldn't personally recommend them. So those are some of the things that I liked about the Galaxy Buds, some of the issues that I had, which brings us down to the question, would I recommend you getting them? Removing that one London scenario, I definitely would. As an AirPod alternative, they're obviously cheaper, coming in at £139. There's more colour options available in these, black, white, and that weird dehydrated urine yellow colour. Decent battery life, small form fitting, secure, they're pretty robust. I don't feel like I could break these very easily. Obviously, as I mentioned, in-ear earphones. They're not going to fall out, much better at noise cancellation, and it's just that level of customization that you get within the Galaxy wearable app, which allows them to fine-tune them to whatever you're going to be using them for. So those have been my thoughts after 1 month of using them. If you're also using the Galaxy Buds, I'd love to hear from you. If you've been using them for a while, what are your final thoughts? Would you recommend them to other people? Controversially, what do you think about them compared to the AirPods? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, a thumbs up would be appreciated. If you haven't already, remember to subscribe to the channel. And as always, I shall see you in the next one.